welcome back to my channel. We're doing something a little bit different today. Like I said in the intro video, it's gonna be a little bit of everything. So we're gonna have some cooking stuff too. And today I'm gonna make my gluten-free wonton-less wonton soup. It's basically a wonton soup without the wonton wrappers. So if you know someone that has a gluten intolerance or allergy, they can eat this and they'll be totally fine. I'm gonna go ahead and start by telling you what ingredients that you need, and then we'll get to it. Okay, so ingredients you're gonna need. Chicken breast, you honestly just need one as long as it's a good sized chicken breast. Baby bok choy, green onions, cilantro, mushrooms, any type of mushroom, it doesn't matter. Carrot, probably just one. I like to use the shredded cabbage that you can buy at the store. An onion, probably just one if it's good size. I have two here just in case. Fresh ginger, chicken broth and beef broth, fish sauce, either soy sauce or liquid aminos. I'm gonna make sure that this recipe is soy free, so I have the liquid aminos here. For seasoning, I have ground ginger. I also have red chili flakes if you like it a little bit spicy. I have this Trader Joe's seasoning, Mushroom and Company multi-purpose umami seasoning blend. You don't need this, but it definitely adds a lot of nice flavor. Onion powder, white pepper, you can also just use regular black pepper, salt obviously, and then sesame oil. Make sure it's toasted sesame oil, and then a star anise. So this is my secret little ingredient that really makes this taste authentic. I'm sure it's not, I'm not Asian whatsoever, but I crave Asian flavors a lot, and I've noticed that if I use this in my stock, it really does make it taste authentic. So you can basically use whatever you have that's on hand. That's what I did. One day I was just really craving some sort of an Asian soup, and this is basically what I had and what I ended up coming up with. Last thing, again, you don't need it, but it does give you that like wonton soup feel, are frozen pot stickers. If you're not gluten-free, you can use any kind that you want, but again, it's a gluten-free recipe. So this is the Feel Good Foods chicken pot stickers. They also make a veggie, and they make a pork one. I think those are the three flavors, and they're really good, honestly. Let's get cooking. I've already washed all of the veggies and everything. I'm gonna start by just doing the stock. You don't have to do chicken and beef broth, but that's what I use, and I think a lot of times there's kind of a mixture in Asian cooking. You can also probably throw some shrimp in here and it would be really good. So I'm gonna start by, I'll actually take this pot off here. Any type of like stock pot works, obviously. I have a Dutch oven here, so I'm gonna do one of each. These I got at Walmart, and one thing I really like about this recipe is that it's actually very affordable as well. It's mostly just like pantry items that you're using. The only thing that, you know, are expensive is the chicken and the sauces and maybe a seasoning. The star anise seems like it'd be a little bit hard to find. You can get it at any regular grocery store. I bought it in the section that has a lot of like Mexican spices and like the fried chilies and stuff. Okay, so basically what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get this boiling first. And ordinarily I would like saute my onions and stuff ahead of time. This I'm basically just letting sit in a broth. It's really not that complicated. Just kind of throw everything in. I'm gonna take my sesame oil, add a little bit of that to the pot, and then I'm also gonna add a few dashes of fish sauce. Honestly, I kind of eyeball everything, so just do it to your own taste. And then, like I said, my secret ingredient, you're gonna just take one star anise, drop it in there, let that boil, and then you're gonna take it out right before you're gonna serve the soup. So I start by chopping my onion. Not even chopping, honestly, I'm just gonna peel it. Okay, so onions are peeled. I'm gonna take the larger one, just cut it in half, and then I just do like rough slices, basically. And this part of it, I'm gonna throw in the broth. I did wanna mention, you can absolutely add garlic to this, and I 100% would. I extremely, unfortunately, have a garlic intolerance and can't eat it. I leave the big pieces in there like that. I'm gonna take this other onion. Last time I just used one, but these were kind of small, and take a quarter of it and throw it in my food processor. That's one thing I didn't mention. You're also gonna need for tools a food processor and some sort of a grater or a microplane. So, put a little bit more in there. And then I'm gonna take my mushrooms and just drop that in the stock too. You can basically add as many or as few veggies in here as you like. I like a lot, just makes it feel a little bit heartier. Now I'm gonna chop up my bok choy. And then I'm just going to cut it in sort of thick pieces, and I'll throw that into our stock as well. I just gave the bok choy a rough chop, and then what I do is I grab my microplane and my carrot and I go over the stock bowl and I just do this. So you get those thin carrot shavings inside of the soup. Now I'm gonna grab my ground ginger, a little bit of salt, and then some of my chili flakes, and just season the stock with that. Okay, so now that that's done, we're gonna move on to the wonton filling portion. It's basically like a meatball, like a chicken meatball. It's all the things that I would be putting in a wonton if I had the wrappers. So I'm just gonna cut chunks of green onion, and we're gonna save this for the green part for the top of the soup left. I did not let it touch the area that the chicken is on. That's very important. Usually I would even put it this close, but for the most part, everything's all going into the same thing. So you're gonna drop that in here. And then I grab a good handful of cilantro. That's gonna go into the food processor. We'll do a little bit more. That goes into the food processor. And then I grab my ginger. So depends on how much you like ginger and how spicy that you like your stuff. I just kind of roughly cut the skin off. And then once I do that, chop a couple pieces, throw that in the food processor, and I just pulse it a second. Get that kind of ground up. It smells so good already. Oh my gosh. I just cleaned up any skin that was on the chicken. This is frozen still, or any pieces of the chicken that I didn't like. Give it a rough chop again. Does not matter if it's frozen. So that's another thing that like you can kind of make this without planning once you have everything in your pantry. Throw it in. I'm gonna wash my hands. We're gonna grind that up and see what it's looking like. I know the idea of throwing a chicken into the food processor probably sounds gross, but just trust me on this one. So I'm gonna add some fish sauce. This is very salty, so be careful with it. And this is where the liquid aminos go in. I do everything pretty much to taste. So if you wanted to add like sriracha, whatever sounds good to you, you can definitely do that too. Now the mushroom seasoning. Some more sesame oil. They say a little goes a long way with sesame oil. I don't know. I like to taste it. And then salt. Does this have salt in it already? Yes, it does. Okay. If you're low on the salt, don't add salt again. So I'm gonna go ahead and grind this up. So that looks good enough to me. It's all ground up. I'm gonna show it to you. Looks a little gross right now. And basically what I do is I just grab a spoon. I form it into like a little meatball shape, and I drop it in the soup. And those are gonna cook in the soup broth. I'm gonna go ahead and move the camera so you can actually see me do this part. So this is what it's looking like right now. Not too shabby. I'm gonna grab this And I basically just form it as best I can into a meatball and drop it into the soup. And then as it's simmering and it's cooking, all of those flavors of the fresh ginger and the onion and everything are incorporating. All right, so that's it. As you can see, it actually made a lot. And then once we add the pot stickers, it really does make it very filling. So I feel like this is a really good, cheap, family-friendly meal. And if you're vegan, obviously you don't have to use the chicken. You can use all the same seasonings and everything. You can add tofu, would be amazing with it. And then they also make a fishless fish sauce. Okay, so as you can see, this has been boiling for a while. The chicken is cooked. At this point, I taste the broth just to make sure it has all the right seasoning. Let's try it. Yeah, it's actually perfect. Amazing. Okay, so now is the time when I add my shredded cabbage. And then I add our frozen pot stickers. We'll do 6. That seems good. Now what I do is I turn the heat down to like 2 or 3, low basically. I cover it and I just let it simmer while the pot stickers are in there, get it all cooked, and then we are good to eat. Okay, let's check on it. That looks pretty good to me, honestly. So we'll go ahead, we'll get it plated up. Lots of veggies. Get that broth. Again, watch for the star anise that you put in there. Got your pot stickers. It is so hot. This is what it's looking like. So last thing that I do is I take the greens from the top of the green onions that we didn't use earlier. Chop those up. Sprinkle those on top. And if you want, you can do a little bit of the leftover cilantro. And it's done. So that's it. It's honestly so easy. One of my favorite things to do as far as cooking goes, it's so hot. See, and we didn't even have to make those. One of my favorite things to do as far as cooking goes is make something out of nothing. Honestly, not having very much in your fridge or in your pantry and still making something that's good, which then means you're making something that's cheap and good, is my favorite thing to do. I have a lot of other recipes that I would like to share. One of them is like a French stew, like chicken stew, I like to call it. I'm gonna taste it. Okay, like the meatball part of it has so much flavor from the ginger and the onion and the cilantro. Honestly, you guys, like you have to try this. It's so good. It's quick, it's easy. Like I said, it's cheap and it has so much flavor. So please, please, please try it. I'm glad I filmed it because I never write my recipes down, so I probably wouldn't have remembered it anyways. But yeah, so please try it. Tell me what you think. I hope you love it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.